He's been dishing out a lot of poke, and Hiku, his positioning has been very optimal in a lot of these fights. Only 1 death so far, but a current KD of 6, 1, and 4. You know, he's kind of been, I don't want to give him all the credit because I feel like Prophet has been the one winning the fights, but you've got to recognize that Hiku has not been a slouch on the backline.
Yeah, the poke is definitely quite valuable. I mean, it's a very apt name for him. He Q quite a lot, actually. So he's been able to find not only that, the true shot barrage damage has been key to one of the few wave clear mechanisms that Rocket actually have to try and stall this out, and this is why you see not more than just the 1 inhibitor down bot broken.
Just wanted you to know that you kind of broke my soul a little bit with that joke, and
excellent.
While it was witty and effective, that hurt. But it was funny if you're not me. So congratulations, Pyra.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Freak would appreciate it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you a lot, really. Wow. Anyway. See, you laughed at your own joke. It was yours.
I laughed at your response because I have no idea what else to do.
So the 608 Trundle still has 6 kills. Remember, he had those kills at like 10 minutes into the game, and hasn't been able to find another one since. Instead, he moved to small. They've been trying to spread the kills and gold out a little bit more. That will be very valuable as the Baron is now spawning in about a minute's time. We're approaching 4 items for many members of Rocket, and the same can be said for Vitality. Jizuke level 16. Level 16 is hit across the board, really, which is very, very valuable because it does mean 3 points in your ultimate, which is always going to be a useful thing to have. So both teams now just playing for priority. Rocket will push in the middle lane. The bot is stacking up a huge wave and is still pushing in favor of Rocket as well, but the same can be said for Vitality in the top side of the map. This will allow Rocket to get a bit of deep vision around the Baron, though, on the top side, even though they do not have the pushing wave. So when the Baron spawns, they can either look for a pick, or they can just rush the Baron down. A lot of damage dealers, so this Baron will drop pretty quickly on the side of Rocket. Vitality, they just kind of want to kill ideally the flanking point as quickly as possible. With the Cool and with the consume from the Tahm Kench, it's going to be challenging for the Gilius to pull that one off.
Yeah, easier said than done for sure. Memento's showing face, but of course he is not going to be alone. The dance around the mid lane continues. There's the pillar. Gilius wraps around the side. Jack Troll isolated from the team. Let's see if they can get the pick. He's a pretty tanky cow right now, but he had to burn his ultimate, and there's 3 seconds on the Baron.
That is huge for Rocket. Vitality, they're going to lose one of their big frontliners. And now they're going to be a little bit more afraid to engage. Remember, look at these minion waves. Big wave pushing in the bottom side of the map for Rocket. They have priority over mid and the deep vision to move towards the Baron. Even though the top wave isn't pushing in their favor, they don't worry about it for the time being. They have their eyes set on this Baron. Vitality, will they face check? No, they use their core. Smart.
Very, very good. Blank does take some damage, out by Vitality. Rocket have to be careful. The way that they move, they could get caught up, and we've seen them fighting choke points earlier in this game. Didn't go so well for them.
So the thing is here, Vitality just stayed mid. They didn't bother to face check to enable getting to the wave much faster and then getting priority. So now they're the ones that are able to pull up the vision. They're even able to get themselves the Scuttle Crab, which is a nice pickup there for Vitality. Get a little bit more comfort and security around this Baron, but they will lose a tower towards the bottom side of the map. Really a huge amount as we approach this point in the game. I can safely say that we are approaching the late game at Pyra, and this is really where champions like Darius start to fall off and struggle to have an impact, but champions like Vladimir and Ezreal, they really come into their own.
Yeah, the late game exists after all. Look at Duncan, 38 minutes now on the clock. Very even, doesn't matter as much if the changes happen. Now there is the Scuttle Vision secured, as well as the Skarner Shrine. This is in full sight for Vitality. However, it's not the only objective on the map. The Baron might be live, but the Elder Dragon is coming up. Vitality have 2 mountains. Now the Baron has been started. Gilius doesn't know what he wants to do. TP coming in from Cabo Shard. This is going to be the big game deciding fight, Pyra. All right, peel away from the Baron. Rocket decides they don't want to take it right here. Vitality, they're going to make a beeline down towards the bottom. Looks like we could be in for the Dragon Rush.
Rocket have no priority of the waves right now. They aren't pushing in mid. They don't have push on top. They're going to throw the ulti down. Try to get the wave pushing there. But now they've set their eyes on the Baron. Vitality, they're going to divide their resources up, and they're going to try and have these 3 members stall the Baron out. If Vitality can pull this off, this will be the game.
Oh, this is risky. Here we go. The Aurelia Blade Surge going, and Gilius is able to make it out of harm's way. But the Dragon does get taken. Attila comes up. Now Gilius turns around, tries to find the pick on a Prophet, but he pulls away. Alistair coming around the side. Jack Troll, he does have his ultimate back up and available. Roccat sneak away this time, but Vitality own the Baron pit.
That was extremely good decision-making there from Vitality. Us 3 members thoroughly to start the Roccat Baron and secure themselves the Elder. There's around 2 minutes available on that. They're all sitting in the bush. I think Roccat. Oh, Roccat. They just want to see if the Baron is being signed. They recognize that it's not. And they're going to just stall this Elder Dragon out. 2 Mountain Drakes is still pretty significant. It's such a close game. We haven't had a kill in a while now, Pyra. But it is still very tense between the 2 teams.
So here's a question. Do Vitality try to use this Elder Drake dragon pushing to like knock down mid lane, or they just force the Baron?
Baron is the easier objective because right now with the Elder Dragon, you want to fight. You want to force the enemy into a position where you can take advantage of the bonus damage that you will get from this Elder. So you can see they're just clearing out all of the vision in the river, they're pushing out mid lane, and they're saying, Roccat, if you want this Baron, you have to come and fight us for it, and we are more than happy to do it.
And they turn it right around, they pull Memento. Looks like that kill's gonna happen right away. The shutdown, Attila finds a huge one, and it looks like the Aurelia coming in, gonna get pushed back time and time again, knocked and bopped and left and right, and Gilius and Cabochard finding their way out of harm's way after finding 1 or 2 more shots. Those Heimer turrets are coming up huge. Rocket, they lose 1 member, and that will be all, but Vitality don't feel healthy enough to go right back to the Baron.
Well, they do have the Heimerdinger, and they have a Skarner to tank this one. I feel like they didn't decide if they wanted to. And here comes the TP in from Jizuke. No jungler on the side of Roccat. Vitality almost certainly going to guarantee the Baron.
There's all that bonus damage coming up in spades. 3 members is all it's going to take to fire down the Baron. The 3rd one of the game. Vitality picked this up, and they finally have it on all 5.
And with the Elder Drake running out shortly, this is exactly the objective that they needed. Memento, he was not expecting the bush. Noskarian couldn't get in because Jack Troll zones him away, and there was no save opportunity. If Memento had lived, this could have potentially been a huge fight win for Roccat, but individual members of Vitality stepping up clutch and allowing themselves to get the kill needed in order to secure themselves the Baron.
I like how Blank just kept getting bouncered out of that fight over and over. He was still dishing damage, but kudos to Vitality to just focus on him and actually knock him away time and again.
A full build on Attila, level 18, the Baron buff in tow. Roccat, they want to try and force a fight before Vitality can get onto the towers. You can see they're setting up a bit of vision. There's a teleport flank available for Prophet, which could be the best way for them to really win out on these fights. Vitality just want to stay clumped. Have this Lulu keep those members protected while the Darius dishes out the damage, and this late game Heimer is free to just shred through the opposition with the turrets that he set up.
Not to mention, if anyone steps too close, Gilius can basically just turn on the Predator and grab somebody away. That'll effectively end this game if it's going to be a priority target. Like Prophet, however, still has Pool. Easy enough for him to try and dodge away. Now, 2 minutes still ticking on the Baron buff. Waves pushing, fortunately, for Roccat. About in the middle of the map right now, but here comes the big wave of minions in the mid. Do they have the damage to take down the tower? Heimer turrets getting set up. Jack Troll trying to roam around. There's that True Shot barrage. It takes a bite out of the wave, but there's still Baron empowered Canyon minion firing down. Just not quite enough, and Vitality do not want to full commit to this one.
Yeah, Gilius just body blocking for the cannon right now, which is just hitting away on the minions. Look at how they stand in the way. They know they can't do anything about it. Roccat will freely give up this tower, and Vitality likely on track to secure themselves 2 inhibitors unless Roccat can find a fight right now.
Desperation for Roccat to try and get back into this game, but we've seen them beat the odds and come out ahead in some of these fights. It has been such a back and forth. This is one of those games that really tests your limits as a player. If you can come back, if you can survive the heartbreak of having a lead like Roccat had early on evaporate, and take advantage of the fact that you should have some better scaling here if only you can get in with Prophet and dish that AoE damage.
Gold pretty much means very little right now, sure. Final items yet to come out for a couple of members. Vitality, they're feeling pretty good. Triple cannon wave in the bottom lane. Quickly melt through. Cabochard using the Righteous Glory.
Just trying to scare Roccat away. It's all about that objective game. The 2 Mountain Drakes certainly paid their dues in this game. So Roccat, they just see their base cut through, but it's guerrilla warfare, Vitality. They want to hit and run.
Yeah, there are just so many minions as well that Roccat don't feel comfortable trying to fight in that many members. The empowered Baron Regal also taking Vitality to safety, and Rocket were too afraid to force the fight. 2 inhibitors go down. Vitality quickly grouping up to try and secure themselves third. And Rocket have to go for a last-ditch effort fight if they want to have a chance of winning this game, because Vitality, they just have to wait. With 2 minions lost, 2 inhibitors down, it's only a matter of time before the minions start crashing down on towards the Nexus turrets. You have so much potent siege with both the Lulu and the Heimerdinger that Vitality really don't need to do very much aside from avoid getting engaged on by this Rocket squad. Now, Rocket have been able to find a couple of engages on him this game, but it hasn't worked the last several attempts. So Vitality, let's see if they can be as clean as their reputation has suggested and make this one a 3-0. Here comes the Vladimir. This is the desperation fight for Rocket. Will they find a Jacktroll? He's going to get stunned up. The damage, it's not quite enough, but they're still making moves. In goes Blank, but he gets knocked to one side. However, Norscarin is going to be able to get the finishing blow onto Jacktroll, but Vitality turning it right back around in a 4-feed-5 scenario. Combo Shard, there's that Darius falling off. Not enough damage, and the dunk is denied. Rocket still lead the charge, and that's going to be one Blade Surge and a second one, and Blank is coming up big on this.
Rocket with a huge team fight once again, and look at those death timers. Nearly a full minute before the main damage dealers of Vitality are alive, and while the base is in tatters, Rocket have their eyes set on the base of Vitality.
Rocket are even able to save their base turrets at this point, and they're marching up towards the top with 3 members. This is going to be rough. Prophet has teleport as well. It is only Gilius left to defend for another 12 seconds.
This is it. Rocket, if you're going to end the game, this is going to be your best opportunity to do so. Memento will tank the tower. They have their eyes set on the Nexus. Rocket, can they make the comeback for what has been a huge up and down game a reality?
You have absolutely spoken true here, Vedius. Jacktroll comes back up at a very clutch time, but Rockets have their sights set on the Nexus. Norscarin swallows up Jacktroll, just buying a little bit of time here, and they don't need to win this fight. They just need that Nexus, and Rocket in a roller coaster finish the fight.
One fight, and Rocket go from base to base and end the game.
I cannot believe what we just saw in 46 and a half minutes. Holding their nerve.
Oh, the frustration for Vitality, they had everything. The last thing they needed to do was not get engaged on, and while things were looking optimistic, Rocket was so resilient. They had their eyes set on that fight. They were committed. They found the win. They killed 4 of the 5 members, and they just said, go, go, go. We can get the game. They rushed it down. They didn't care about the kills. And after what was such a back and forth game, Rocket come out as victors.
They can hold their heads high. After a mixed performance in week number 1, they come out the gates here. And they prove it doesn't matter what opponent they're going to be up against. Rocket always have that upset potential. Disappointment from the Vitality members. They had this game for a long time, but Rocket just said, no, you will not close.
Yeah, I mean, the thing for Vitality is they fell behind. They were extremely proactive, and they played around their mid-game spike very effectively. But then just one poorly executed fight around the Baron area where Rocket were able to find the fight. Even then, Vitality steal away the Baron. And if they had lost that, then maybe Rocket could have slowed down much earlier. But because of that steal, there was no objective to play around for 7 minutes. So it was just a constant back and forth, and then when it came to a reset, Elder and Baron were set up. Vitality played better. They secured the Elder, they secured the Baron, they found the successful picks. But then it was just Rocket saying, okay, when we get to fight you on our terms, when we get to fight you in a situation that favors us, that is what will come out on. And they were able to finally do it.
It was, and to top it all off, we had that incredible base defense. Take a look at that one more time. Brought to you by Ace of Predator.
So this was the final fight, and the penalty for Memento is huge because it locks Jizuke into an unoptimal position, and Cabo isn't on the front line to dish damage. Jacktroll is basically out of the fight by the time things start. And look at Attila. He uses the upgraded grenade rather than the turret. So there's no damage coming out from the side of Vitality, whereas there are 4 damage dealers on the side of Rocket. Everything goes in their favor, all off the back of just a smart engage. And there was just, Vitality weren't in a position to really get their damage out, while Rocket was able to get everything that they needed. And then they just rushed down the base in order to find themselves. It was not a clean win, but it is a win nonetheless.
Hey, you'll take that notch at the end of the day. And honestly, there was so many impressive performances on both sides of the map, but when we're seeing that last play, looking at how the Aurelia was able to just pretty much mop up everybody, I mean, this has got to be one of the reasons why people have been considering it such a high-tier picker ban.
I mean, for me, like, Prophet was a huge factor in a lot of these late-game fights. You can see his damage contribution was huge. HQ as well. Just his positioning in fights was great. And this is something that we said a lot about him last split, where he just came across as inconsistent, because sometimes he would just go off, and his positioning was amazing, his damage was good, everything about him looked great, and then the next game he goes 0-6 on Kalista, and you'd be like, I think he could just find an essence of consistency. Now, week 2 in, he had a great game. We just have to hope that he can maintain that throughout the rest of the split, because there is still a long season left to come. And after Rocket did make playoffs last season, they want to aim for even bigger and brighter things this split.
Absolutely, but of course, so many guys stepping up, I feel like it's kind of hard to call who was the standout performer. So we're going to let you guys do it. If you have a favorite, be sure to vote for Player of the Game at LOL Esports on Twitter. Your choices now are EQ, Prophet, and Blank.
Again, that's a hard call, man. Yeah, it certainly is. I think there were so many good performances, but I get to chuck in a quick humble brag as the only LMC out of everyone. So on that happy note, why don't we do the toss?
Okay, for more Rockets win, let's check in with Quick Shot and the Jungler.
Thank you very much. Not my player of the game, because I would have voted for Memento. Dude, you came off stage, you were buzzing, you were shaking.
Yep.
Base to base after one team fight. Why was it so crazy at the end?
I mean, I think we all had in mind that we wanted to give them like a sense of what we felt last time we faced them. When they backdoored us, we wanted to feel the same, you know? It's all about the revenge.
About the revenge. And the strategy coming into the game.
That's all we talked about, you know? There was no draft, there was nothing, we just talked about it.
Memento, you went, I think, 5-0 or 6-0 to start the game. And I was asking some questions backstage. Is Trundle the dude that you want to be that fed when you have so many carries around you?
I mean,
How is the comms going when everyone's yelling Memento KS, bro?
I mean, I've no... I didn't actually mean to take the kills, because I think on Trundle is kind of garbage to have the kills. But I just ended up like last hitting every kill, so I guess I'm the carry.
Okay, well, let's stop and talk about the game. You were behind the majority. Yes, you had kills, but you had map control, map abilities, etc. So what was the communication like going from sort of 10, 15 minutes into that very lengthy, very crazy back and forth mid-game?
I think after we lost one team fight that they got Nash, we were talking about like, I think Prophet was calling, he said, let's just go late game, and Hiki was saying, we have an AD carry, they don't, so we just decided that we should farm up.
Go late game, you have an 80 carry.
Yeah, exactly.
Memento breakers. Anyways,
You know.
listen, Memento, congratulations on the win. I do have one last question for you, looking forward. G2 will be taking on Schalke 04. Who's going to win this game and why?
I think G2 are gonna win pretty hard. I think they're just above everyone else's level at this point.
Well, I've definitely got some smiles from Wonder behind you. Congratulations, Memento, on the win. We're going to an ad break. When we come back, G2 take on Schalke. That's a that stream out because we're on our twitch.tv/RightGame. We're also going to have a POV stream for perks. So, guys, we'll see you after the break.
Round, but is he going to live before the TP comes in? It looks like no. Gilius tried to give him some backup, but it was just too much. Now Jizuke coming back to the mid lane. And with Gilius, he's going to equalize, but Gilius is still real. Memento takes a fight out of the Scorpion, and he's looking for Jizuke as well. Will Rocket come out ahead? Even Norscarin's joining the fun, and that's a triple kill from Memento. And oh, EQ just barely gets away from the impale, and now Gilius is kind of fed over the way of Rocket. Let's see if they can take this fight. Holding two-man apprehend, knocked around, but Vitality found themselves a second win, or have they? Chunked out by the True Shot Barrage to back and forth the fair. Flash, bash, and crash, and it looks like they're turned around once again with Cabo Shard. There's the double. Stolen away on that triple kill. Jack Troll's got the second one up, but he gets one all the same. Whoa! No! Cabo! Go, 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 go! Prophet really low here, so is the Baron. Here comes Jack Troll. Looks like they're going to find the damage. Gilius, can he be the hero? He steals it away! Gilius! Aerial Kabushard, there's a Darius falling off, not enough damage, and the dunk is denied! Rockat still lead the charge, and that's going to be one Blade Surge, and a second one, and Blank is coming up big on this! They don't need to win this fight, they just need that Nexus, and Rockat in a roller coaster finish the fight!
to bring him back to life. Perks goes forward before he's scattered by the weak, but there's simply not enough damage. It was neat, a quadra kill for Perks to close out the game.
For G2 versus Schalke, the story's simple. Redemption for a disappointing spring split. For G2, it's a disappointment because they didn't live up to the legacy. They didn't win the final, and they got crushed.
Last split, we didn't really match well, and we had to improve a lot. And in the finals, even though Fnatic destroyed us, it felt like we are way more together.
For Schalke, spring split was a complete failure. The team failed to live up to any of the hype.
And this knocks Schalke out of playoffs.
Being 8th place when you're basically one of the top teams in terms of neutral talent, it's something that you don't want to be. Striking itself, like the organization, the staff, the players, you know, are not an 8th place team.
That gets a cold card out because the shield timed out. Amazing! Puts the tactical sweep to the face of Cat.
Last bit was bad for us, like not only because of the result, but more because we didn't manage to function as a team, I think.
Schalke tried to play so cool, so safe, with a sterile team. Amazing is the polar opposite. He's emotional, he's feisty, he's fiery, and that is a double-edged sword. It can elevate Schalke, or it can explode. And it'll be on Amazing shoulders to see how far Schalke can go.
So they picked up Amazing, and I thought he's like kind of grandpa, like he doesn't have mechanics, but he actually proved that he has some mechanics.
Puts the baby cage down on Caps, and Caps is obliterated.
All the lanes work together with Amazing in order to neutralize jungle.
The jungle matchup, like, not even close. It's gonna be totally one-sided.
I think it's one of the easiest matchups I can have right now compared to all the teams. Amazing, it's just not out there. I mean, last time we played against Schalke, especially the first game, Spring 3 was crazy. Nuke got really stoned by Tarek.
Perks versus Nuke is going to be an explosive mid lane matchup. Two of the best individual players in the league, and I have no idea who's going to come out on top.
Oh, Nuke dodges this! Jumps back onto Perks, the Hexa gunblade and Perks is down! That's how you win the mid lane! The year of Nuke.
I'm excited to play already. It makes for an exciting gameplay. It's also the fact that he is, you know, the top dog mid laner.
Will Perks be able to elevate everybody around him to play to the level that we have already seen Perks play? It's the only way for G2 to be a title contender.
Even if everything doesn't go to plan, we can still, you know, pull out the win. Whereas some other teams, they need everything to go their way, otherwise they collapse a bit.
I think we have to show to our fans that we can be the best in Europe.
It's week 2 of the summer split, and this matchup is the start of that redemption story. For G2 and Schalke, there's no time to waste. Start winning now. You don't know.
Welcome to our match of the week between Schalke No Fear and G2 Esports. Now, before we get into it, it saddens me deeply. Pick some bands on the way, but we do have to take a moment to honor the superior analyst, the only one to predict a Raw Cat win against Vitality. It's Vedius.
I can't believe it. You know,
this man.
What is
see
this? What is this?
Oh, Memento.
I never wanted this. No one.
Look what you did, Memento.
Oh my God.
Look what you did.
It's physically painful. It's physically painful to look at this.
It especially burns because last week I was one of the only people that predicted Roccat to win, and I thought I was a genius, but no, I'm 0 for 2 today.
It's 0 for 2. It doesn't feel good. I'm new to this, and it still doesn't feel good.
Congrats to Vedius. Every day things get a little bit worse here as Vedius gets stronger and stronger as a superior analyst. Now, let's take a look ahead. We can ignore Vedius for now. He'll be on the death later. He'll get to brag. Schalke versus G2 is what's on the cards. Now, we're still working towards champion select, so I want to talk a little bit about this matchup. You saw in the video we had prior, mid lane is the matchup on everyone's mind. How do you feel about Perks versus Nuke right now from what we saw in week 1?
Ooh, I like Nuke's chances. I think he's going to bring us something a little bit, you know, out of left field, right? He had the Kale, the Twisted Fate I was a big fan of. Champions that can demand pressure around him to get amazing. There to help him out and shut down Perks.
I think Perks is Perks, man. Say what you want about Nuke, but Perks is Perks, and he's totally on form this split as well, what we've seen so far. You really, it's a tall order to take from Perks. I don't really see Nuke being able to do it.
Well, Perks is a strong contender. You can, of course, watch him on our POV stream beta. We'll be focused all about him. We're going to hope that he plays something exciting. That's twitch.tv/RiotGames2. So you're talking about Kale, you're talking about Twisted Fate. I'm going to be honest, I don't want to... Because those champions are great for Schalke to win, but those champions aren't fun to watch in 1v1. I want to see that Zoe long rematch. I want to see them come back for these intense one-on-ones.
We might not get a 1v1. If you remember back to last week, the big Kaisa plays for Perks in the mid lane, he wasn't in a 1v1 matchup in the mid lane. He had a Braum with him running around the jungle all across the map and doing that boring funnel strategy, and that's where a pick like the Twisted Fate really did work out, I think, for Schalke in their match against Fnatic.
And Jankos is another one of these players who I think is really stepping up what we've seen of him so far as well. High expectations of him when he joined G2 and that mid-jungle synergy.
Now, gentlemen, we are into picks advanced. G2 Esports finding themselves on the blue side. Schalke on the red. Rise, Aurelia, Camille, Heimerdinger, Nocturne, the bands on the opposite side. FC Schalke are going to round it out for the first pick here for G2. What jumps out to you immediately in terms of the band priority?
Get Yarnin off his Heimerdinger. Don't let him have that champion. I am so happy that that is the first ban to come out of Schalke, because if I'm playing against G2, I never let that man have his champ.
Do you reckon they saw the last game and just like, yeah, Heimerdinger, I remember how irritating this dude is originally. Like, let's not play versus him. Get him off.
Oh no.
Now, G2 Esports,
It's happening.
they lock in the Braum. And of course, this is kind of telegraphing the strat that I think a lot of people are tired of seeing, a lot of people are complaining about, but still feels pretty powerful, and that is the funneling strat, the potential for the Braum to go mid lane, or for Jankos to play the Braum and to have Perks play a jungle.
And Kaisa is open. That's what they played last week. I would not be surprised at all to see G2 take that in the next rotation. But remember that Schalke did look pretty good against Fnatic's version of the funneling strategy. For the first 20 minutes, they absolutely demolished it, playing aggressive picks out of the mid lane, playing very offensively. They just needed to close it out.
But what was Rockat's strategy when they beat Vitality just now? They were bucking the curve by drafting a standard bot lane. What's up with that? A standard bot lane? Maybe this is actually a support. Dare I say it, the Braum we've seen here might be a support.
Right, that's the thing you get. Because
speak blasphemy. Yeah, we have till 30 seconds after the final pick phase to see whether or not it's going to be a standard bot lane, whether or not it's going to be a funnel comp. I imagine we will find out shortly. Since now locked in by Amazing, aggressive jungler, feels a little like the Camille in terms of how it's going to play.
okay, so they still don't necessarily have to go. I think, personally, if I was Coach G2, I would pivot away from the funnel strategy after seeing Zoe and Xinjiao locked in for sure. That's so offensive in the early game. They can shut this strat down.
How you want to shut this strat down exactly is you want to have that aggressive mid-jungle synergy so that when Kaisa and Braum are doing their thing, you can actually take it to them a little bit.
And of course, you can see now how the strategy likes to play out. Over to Perks in the mid lane. If this is the strategy they want to go to, making him that hyper carry, leading to some of those highlight moments where, yes, Kaisa is the only one doing damage, but since she can't actually be killed, it's more than enough to bring it home. Or the other lock-in for G2 Esports, and interestingly enough, talked about more standard bots. It looks like Schalke going to pick up an 80 carry for themselves in the bottom sector.
And this is a really aggressive early draft from Schalke. They're saying they
love it.
Exactly. They want to win in this early game. And what we've seen of them so far, last week, they were really good in that early game. That was definitely their strengths. And Lucian, you picked him as a laner yourself. I want him in lane.
Yeah, and that's why I like seeing them ban away the Fiddlesticks. This champion was used to great effect in the first week of play. Ziggs as well, all these main priority champions on the bot side.
They want G2 to pick more of a standard bot lane. They're like, don't get Heimer, Fiddle, Ziggs, screw these champions. We ain't playing versus these. Pick something normal that Lucian can actually.
Exactly, because against the funnel strategy, you want to have priority in every lane so you can win those lanes and shove into the enemy jungle and fight.
Last phase of HR's Poppy taken off. G2 Esports. One of the options here. Our strategy is going to go lock in. So the trend of aggressiveness is continuing. Engage options pretty much across the board for Schalke outside of that Lucian pick.
Oh, God.
Funnel, baby. It's all about that funnel. We can't avoid it.
We have sick bags on the desk. I need one.
In theory, it could be.
No, they've got the Braum and the Tom Catch. There's no way.
Salvage it, mate.
Ender, when this strat first came out in the ULCS, you were the one quick to come up with reasons as to why Misfits were the team to counter it. It seems like we're seeing some of the same factors here, that early aggression coming from Schalke. We've already seen them run that play against Fnatic. Is it just a rinse and repeat for these guys? Does it look like a carbon copy?
It is a carbon copy up until 21 minutes where you need to have a ward on the Baron buff.
because when you have a level 16 Kai'Sa, 20 minutes, she shreds that sucker down. So you gotta have vision of it, and that way you can keep that snowball rolling.
You know, we talked about Reddit being superior analyst. I'm going to put on my superior analyst hat here and say, Schalke want to do the things that made them win the early game and stop what made them lose.
Genius.
Excellent prediction. Now, for G2 Esports, is there any last minute? We've got 20 seconds is coming up now. Last moment to swap around. Doesn't look like we're going to see anything. Who's going to take this? I know you guys had a chance to predict earlier. Do you want to make a swap? Is this still a G2 favorite matchup?
It's a tough call because I think that Schalke have the tools to be able to shut this down in the early game, and I'd go for them.
Yeah, I want to see Schalke do it, just because I'm rooting against the funnel strat. Go Schalke.
Absolutely can be the case. Of course, coaches are shaking hands. We're getting ready to get in the game in just a moment. Excited to see how the match of the week is going to play out. Team comps now on your screen as both teams load up. The funnel versus the early game play coming in from Schalke. Teams are ready to hit the rift, so let's send it over to Pyra and Vedius as we get into our match of the week.
Very much, Dracos. Welcome to the match of the week, G2 Esports. Going tried and true here with the funnel strategy in Schalke. They say we saw Fnatic. We can beat them. We can beat G2 as well.
Well, they're going to try. It's going to be quite an exciting game. People have been hyped up to see how the new addition of Amazing can really change the performance of Schalke. I feel like that they had a bit of a mixed week last week, and Amazing as a player is still trying to find his place in the team. We have heard from interviews and from him on the podcast that it is taking him a little bit of time, you know, to readjust to the stage, pro player lifestyle. He was on the broadcast for a while, so he actually has to be good at the game rather than pretend to be good at the game. And, it's a process. He is slowly moving his way back in, but he's going up against G2. We've had a whole split to do that. This is the same roster from last year, the same roster that went to the finals. They did get 3-0 by Fnatic, but they identified the issues. Last week, they felt kind of burnt out, but after last week's performance, it looks like that he's back on track to being one of the top mids in Europe.
That's true. I want to unpack a little bit what you said there, though, about Amazing. He has definitely had to kind of move his way back into the jungle in a very different style of meta from when he was playing 9 months ago, and that is probably one of the reasons why he's found it a little bit more difficult. He talked in that interview specifically about not necessarily being on carries or carrying so much, but what's funny is he's played 2 Camille games in Xinjiao now. And he doesn't have to worry about getting counter-jungled this game, so I feel like he's off to a good start.
And I think he enjoys the carry style if he can have it. Now on the Xinjiao, active in the early game. Very popular pick over in the LPL. They do love this champion. And a lot of it's just because you have a lot of early damage and pretty effective. You have a slow built into your kit. You have the knock-up as well, the 3-hit strike, the 3-town strike, I believe it is called. And it basically means that in the early game, when it comes to early skirmishes, especially against, well, no jungler, you can be pretty proactive and you can look to make a lot of plays.
Whoa, 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 whoa. There's a jungler. It's just in the mid lane.
Sure, but what I mean by that is that Hyanan and Wadid, the risk of someone coming bot lane, aside from maybe a Wonder TP, is very low, which means that Upset and Panda can play like there is no one in their lane. They can play as aggressively as they want. They don't have to run the risk of a jungler showing up really difficult. And Amazing has loads of opportunities to just walk down and take risk of getting counter jungle. And the other good thing about Xinjiao is just his early skirmishes against someone like a Zoe. It can be very effective. The paired, when you pair up these 2 champions, they are considered very, very strong. We saw it a lot last split, where you'd pair things like an Olaf and a Zoe up, and pretty much never lose a 2 versus 2 in that combo. So Xinjiao kind of provides that similar role, and we'll see how aggressive he can be on the champion. Because we know that last week when he played the Camille, he was able to do it. He put a lot of resources into the mid lane ganks. Let's see if he can pull it off again.
Yeah, it'll be very important for Nukeduck and Amazing to try and shut down Perks in this game, because it is really all about Perks in that middle lane. Nukeduck stealing away what he can. And just speaking of interesting, it's a good thing we're watching him on the POV stream over at twitch.tv/RiotGames2. Here we go. This is Perks Division.
You can see the clicks, the fast movement, the paying attention.
He
Guys, he warded. Pro player warded. Copy him. Do that at home.
I don't care how many times you say that, it's never going to happen.
You got to keep trying though, Pyre. You got to.
I agree. You know, I admire you not giving up.
Yeah, so you can go watch Perks. You can go see how the funnel strat works live. It's not the most in terms. It will get action-packed later, in theory, if
they can get that far. But for the time being, you'll just see a lot of farming. But the thing to pay attention to is how he manages his time between picking up the midway farm and also when he spends his time in the jungle. Because if you are going to space it out even. But yes, very interesting. Smite on Nukta. He is Zoe and he's playing Smite. We didn't see that coming into the game. I have just noticed it, and it allows Nukta to basically invade his Number one, that means he won't fall as far behind against his lane opposition because, funny enough, he's getting jungle camps too. It also denies goals from Perks, which is great because he's trying to have into him. It kind of lowers your kill pressure, but you don't really need it anyway.
I mean, you're Zoe.
Because
We've seen what Zoe can do without an extra summoner anyway.
But you're not laning against anyone anyway, so the idea of kill pressure is kind of minimal regardless. So I actually really like this adaptation that we're seeing from Nukta, and I hope that it pays off more so as we get into the later stages of the game. It does mean that objectives also
it's do yourself up, really. Yeah. Steal away what you can now. This Chachi might be in some trouble here. Has to flash. Wonder's going to follow him, and that's a better tank. It looks like it's going to be Wonder on this Ornn. Chachi is going to fall for first blood.
Wonder literally just solo killed Chachi
On Ornn.
in lane on Ornn. That is very surprising. Not what you would expect from the top laner of Schalke. Now we see a bit of early skirmishing, but G2 want to avoid that at all costs. There is farm on the horizon that they need to grab themselves, but you know, the backtrack, like, Chachi just died in lane. So uncharacteristic. This guy, he has an MVP of the split title under his belt.
Yeah, I mean, it was a while ago, but he's very well known for being able to execute. Now, down to the bottom, let's see if the execution comes through as well. Wadid swallows up Yarnan. This is the safety of the Kench, but back to your point about Chachi, yeah, it's shocking.
It is extremely shocking. Like, Wonder's good, you know, don't want to take anything away from Wonder, but that is very, very smart. Chachi goes in for a couple of early game trades, which he largely loses. Remember that you are sacrificing your own health, and you don't have anything to land those cleavers, and that just gave Wonder the opportunity to fight him. And remember as well that Wonder, because he's a level down here, oh, hang on, we have a bit of an engage of Charles.
Like he's got more than just a level down right now. Visit Chachi getting triple team works, smells some kills, and he's going to find another one. On to Chachi.
And this is disaster now for Schalke because Perks is getting even more resources invested. That is a kill very early on. It's easily handed over to the big carry of G2. Chachi doesn't have the teleport, so it's going to be a long time before he gets back into lane. A lot of resources being denied and more funneled into Perks.
It seems like the core assumption that Schalke had with this composition was they were going to just be fine on lanes and they could use Amazing and Nukta to try and hunt down Perks. But it's proven to not be the case here. Visit Chachi's Mundo is being set incredibly far behind.
It certainly is going to be a big operation for Chachi to get back into this game. Let's see how he pulls it off, because now pressure falls on the bot side of the map for Schalke if they want to find a way back into the game. Obviously the deficit is so huge right now. Nukta and Perks are both the same level, Amazing even ahead in levels on Yanko, so experience-wise pretty good. Have a quick look over at the gold, and you can see that in terms of the overall gold between jungle mid and jungle mid for both sides, it is still relatively even. So Schalke not too far behind from the side, and that's a good situation to be outside of obviously the difference of the top lane.
Yeah. Now the funnel, of course, is still pretty real for Perks as he continues to pick up the lion's share of all that gold. You can see that just the CS differential alone. Of course, not telling the full story because of the jungle camp. Look at what Upset and Banner are doing. It'd be nice if Yarnan and Wadid were anywhere near there, but they're taking jungle camps of their own.
But this is something that they've actually done a lot. Last week when they were playing the Heimerdinger lane, they would often move back towards the Krogs and they would just constantly pick them up because one of the cool things about this duo of Braum and Teresa is they're actually really strong skirmishers, especially once Braum hits level 6 because of the amount of CC you have. And they're looking for another play up top. I don't think they can get the kill here, given that Chachi is level 6.
That's a lot of damage, though. However, Chachi on the level 6, he's about to run out. He goes golden. Yankos can't take any more shots, and it looked like Wonder didn't want to be on the same page with that one. So you are correct. This time he gets away.
But Wonder, he has his ult up very soon. G2 could just look for a turnaround and head back towards the top side again if they wanted to. Good response though from Schalke as they grab themselves the Drake and more farm being lost in the middle lane. Like, this is one of the things, right? If you're ganking all the time, it means you're losing farm. So Nukta actually doing a decent job of maintaining a reasonable gap between himself and Perks. Especially they were able to find a kill on the top side.
Yep, let's see. So, really clutch that they were able to secure themselves not just any dragon, but the Infernal
a look at that gold game overall, as you said, it has been fairly close. 700, it's amazing. And Nuke Duck roaming as best they can to try and pick up kills. Perks is back in mid lane. I always find it really fascinating when you look at like the funnel comp versus the stop the funnel comp. You'd think it would be obvious who's actually coming out ahead, but I feel like it's a little hard to tell since it seems so even.
Well, I feel right now G2 are happy with the position that they're in. They haven't lost the kill yet. Their bot tower is still alive. They've actually gained advantages in the top side, and Perks has been able to get a decent amount of gold. So the way in which the game is going, for G2 are pretty happy. Schalke will start to feel the pressure relatively soon, and that's why you're starting to see them move towards the bot side. For now, it's okay. And they're not under too much pressure, but they will need to be proactive. You can't just sit around and hope that G2 mess up, because when you're just funneling gold, it's kind of hard to mess up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could miss a smite or something, but yeah, it really doesn't matter too much. Speaking of messing up, though, Vizicachi, he seems to have recovered reasonably well from the earlier oopsies up towards the top side. Wonder's still a very scary threat here. You know, the Sheen, the Catalyst, he's going to be a hard man to kill, and he's chasing Vizicachi away from all this farm. But the Mundo doesn't have to care as much when he has his ultimate, and Vander's even coming up for some support here. So Wonder carefully backs away. Upset also spotted out.
Interesting that Schalke have chosen to go for an early swap here. Looks like they want to try and get Chachi out of what has been a bit of a dire laning phase for him. And they want to try and get some pressure down onto this top tier 1. But with the Dragon gone as well, I imagine they do not want to concede the Rift Herald for free. It's a big objective that can really help with the sieges. And handing that over to the funnel comp is definitely not what you want to do. So Schalke have the majority of members topside now, and this could be Amazing in trouble.
Yeah, looks like it. Amazing. He does knock him back. Crescent Guard's on as well, so he has to burn it, but critically, he does get out unscathed, and G2 pull the trigger. Let's see if they can do even more as they head up towards the top side. Jankos and Perks still pushing in the mid. Let's take a look at how Perks has actually done compared to his last Kai'Sa performance, because this was the flawless execution of the final strat. Right now, he's still got a long ways to live up to.
Well, yeah, once we get to 20 minutes, let's see if he can break his CS record once again. But 7-0 and 5 did not die in week 1 of the European LCS Summer Split. And as we said, he is kind of on his way back to form. He kind of burnt out towards the end of last split, as he mentioned in an interview, and he doesn't want to do that again. So he took some nice time, he took some time off, now he's back on the grind, ready to perform, and doing a fantastic job.
Well, Arnar goes a long way. Obviously, it's been a rough split for him, and you know, you're never going to get used to losing when you're the 4-time LCS champions. Taking this new squad, he had a lot of work to do. Maybe this is the split that G2 Esports get back on track would be a good turnaround for them. Despite the fact they were finalists, of course, I don't want to say they were looking horrible. It's definitely not in the same form. Schalke tries to make an attempt up towards the top. Yarn and Embiid playing as safe as they possibly can. And the funnel continues.
As we mentioned, G2 pretty happy. I imagine the point of view stream going extremely well for you guys if you've just tuned in. You can watch Perks play Kai'Sa.
And watch Jankos run around and babysit.
Yeah, you can also watch that, I guess, too.
This is why I don't like calling it the funnel strat, by the way, because I think that you can use some more colorful language. I prefer to call it the butler strat. Everyone knows what a butler does, and that's exactly what Jankos is. He's literally
but the strategy is not about the butler here. The strategy is about the person who receives the resources.
That's Batman. like Jankos is Alfred, Perks is Batman.
Hang on,
and
look at the trade.
He's pretty dead. Oh, good flash though. Nice job getting out of harm's way.
Wonder outplaying Chachi once again. 2 levels on him.
Oh no, indeed. He's interrupted. No way to get out with the Abyssal Voyage, and it looks like Amazing upset. And everybody just collapsing on the Tom catch.
So they finally find their first kill of the game. The question is, can they secure an objective off the back of it? Because Schalke still at a gold deficit. They haven't been able to punish this double support lane as of yet. It means that G2 are very happy with the situation they're in. Perks now heading his way, but
oh, Killer Instinct goes right on in for Vizicachi, and he makes it a Cathian Rain.
Very easy kill there for Perks. He doesn't need his butler this time around. Batman swoops in and secures himself the goal that he needs to be a happy chappy. Already completed his first major item. We can see as how this played out before. Very simply, Vander did his knockback, and then he did the knocky up, and then he did the stunning, and then Schalke did the killing.
There was a lot of verbs in that one. And Schalke didn't stop doing the killing. That was not English. As they take down the Rift Herald.
Easy peasy. It will be an exchange of towers, but Schalke, I imagine, want to throw this Rift Herald mid so they can at least get themselves an objective back. A lot of sound effects going on right now.
Yeah, I'm a little confused at
pew,
the moment.
pew, pew, pew.
We don't add any more.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Getting into it, you know?
Yeah, well, you know, I'll give you that, but...
So Nuke Duck has now effectively become a jungler as well. Level 11, 151 CS, and he's completed his jungle item. The
Skirmisher's
Runic
Saber.
Echoes.
With the Runic
That's
Echoes,
the one.
yeah.
Yeah. So Skirmisher Saber will increase your damage. Runic Echoes has received a decent number of buffs, actually, over the last couple of patches. And now it gives you a pretty quantifiable amount of AP, 80 ability power as a first item, and 10% cooldown reduction, and 300 mana. So obviously the trade-off is you lose a summoner spell because you have to run Smite.
But if it's challenging Smite and you're Zoe and you just kind of want to add to your burst and poke, then I actually can see that. I think it's a pretty smart adaptation. I like the slight difference that Nuke has brought out. Will it pay off in the long run? He's still leveled down onto perks and a lot of resources still being funneled, actually, as the strategy does suggest. And now the Rage Blade is finished as well. So I always like to think of it as the level 16 mark is when the comp really comes scary, because you then have 3 points in your ultimate, and usually you're at about 2.5 items, maybe even 3 items, and that's when stuff gets really scary.
True, but I think it's pretty admirable that Nuke has been able to even keep it relatively close, considering he's not getting the same amount of resources focused on him. He does have to flash away from the Ornn ultimate. As he goes in, he goes out. Wonder hasn't really slouched this game by any means at all, but yeah, the 20-minute mark, Ender was pointing it out earlier on the analyst desk as well. Still about 5 minutes away from us here. And I do want to see if Nuke can come up with any of those huge deletions. Like, this is a guy that really has never stopped kind of having that outplay potential. Throughout the long years he's played in the European LCS, one of the longest standing players here. You got to think all the way back to Season 3 now. Schalke looking for a fight. Wadid is going to swallow up Yarnin. End it right here, right now.
So the Ref Herald is still in the pocket of amazing. No towers have been secured for Schalke yet, even though G2 did secure the first one, and they have a pretty low health one ready for the taking up top side. They get themselves the Drake as well. G2 just feel like they have primary control over this game for the most part. Schalke not being quite as proactive as they were against Fnatic's Funnel Comp, but again, the funny thing is when Schalke played against Fnatic, and Fnatic ran this strategy, they were also against 2 supports in the bottom lane, but the key difference was every so often when Perks went to farm mid, Amazing would come mid lane, and then Vander would roam up and try and gank mid lane as well. We haven't really seen that at all this game. Way more focus has been put on trying to shut down Hyunin and Wadid, who have just been tanking ganks. Yes, they were able to finally successfully kill Wadid at one point, but they haven't even turned it into a tower yet. And that means that, unlike last time where Caps was 0-3 and Schalke had a 8k goal lead because with Caps behind, it gave them full control over the map, G2 have just been able to wave clear on the side lanes. They've even been winning one side lane with Wonder, and Schalke have failed to deny Perks any farm, aside from some of the jungle camps that Nuke has been stealing. So I feel like that right now G2 are just very happy campers, because 3 more levels to go for Perks before they can consider rushing Baron. They can look to try and force it day one, and things become very challenging for Schalke to really take it around.
Doomsday timer's ticking for sure, and it does seem like a very comfortable cruise for G2 Esports. These guys are not necessarily forced to make incredibly crazy plays, because they just want to hit that mark where they pretty much keep Perks in the driver's seat all the time, and they've even given him a little insurance policy. The QSS comes in.
And when you have a Tahm Kench too, if you ever get hit by a Zoe bubble, it will not hit. You'll just be instantly cleansed, and Perks will be absolutely fine. G2 now grouping as a 5-man to secure themselves the mid-tier 1. Only 1 hour at a tower left for them to secure, and the top lane is already pretty low. Schalke were able to finally successfully find their first tower of the game. And I want to see Schalke try and force a play here. Upset goes in.
Nice jump by Jacob to jump back in. Upset found himself a little bit too far forward, and he's going to get fired down. Yarnin actually takes away the last hit, giving him kill credit on this one. Perks does land.
And Upset, he oversteps in the middle lane, and immediate punish from G2. Another kill goes over in their favor, this time onto Hyunin rather than Perks, but still, a kill is a kill, and they get the flash out from Upset as well. Schalke yet to find any success with the early game comp that they have drafted for themselves. Now we just look back as we see Upset like, oh, there's a bomb there.
And an Ornn, and the rest of the team.
That sucks.
Yeah, Schalke, you know, it goes back to what you're saying earlier on. We wanted to talk a little bit about, like, Amazing and how he's kind of changed the dynamic in this team, and he's still looking for a space for himself, but can he really be the leader? We haven't really seen it just yet in this particular game. Chachi taking up tower shots. Meanwhile, it's just a crazy fight. Nuke's going to start off by picking off Yarnin and Wonder, and Wadid, they're going to get left for dead here, but it's going to be a tower traded in the inner.
So Schalke finally find themselves a successful fight, and they get themselves 3 kills, which is great. But look at what they're losing on the other side of the map. G2 trade the lives of 3 for 2 towers, and Perks is just continuing to farm. This is the kind of proactivity we needed to see from Schalke, but right now it's not resulting in anything significant that closes the gold gap enough for them to really challenge Perks.
Let's take a look at the replay again. It was a good collapse on bottom for Schalke. Not netting enough for them to get ahead.
So their whole goal here was just to try and punish Wonder, as he was by himself. He didn't really have the minion wave to defend under this tower, and it was going to be very quick and clean dive, but then Wadid brings his bot laner Hyanan to help save the top laner, and really just to buy more time. If they could have gotten a single kill there, it would have been even better for them. Unfortunately, they don't find one, but Perks is still trading on the other side of the map, and yes, the kills are very valuable. The experience in gold is great for Schalke to pick themselves up, but they're the ones still behind. They don't have a lot of control over the map, and they need to be finding more of these proactive plays. Take advantage of the fact that Wanda has now used his flash the same way he did.
Yeah, Perks goes in. Killer Instinct onto Vizicachi. Can't dodge him forever. Yanko ends up with the final shot on the Winter's Bite. Perks still picks up that assist. And Baron Dasher's live on the Rip Vedius for one night only. As G2 Esports might be looking to secure that one up pretty soon. We are at the 20-minute mark. This is the scary territory.
So it's the level 16 point for me where Perks will just start to run away with the game, but their eyes are set on the bot tier 2. They already have a wave pushing up towards them. They know that the top wave is stacking up, so the moment they take that tower, they can go back. They can send Perks up to catch the wave. And everything so far looking pretty good as, are Schalke going to do it? They're going to try and rush the Baron, knowing that so many members of G2 are on the other side of the map. I think they can rush this down.
Yeah, and Yankos, he's coming there, but he doesn't have a smite for the first time, really, and it looks like desperate moves for G2 to try to respond in time. This Baron's only at half its health. Maybe they can take the fight right now. Schalke seem to be getting cold feet. Vander trying to move around the side. Here comes the Ornhorns, and they're going to knock up two. Let's see the Baron doing all the work for him. Perks picking up a killing spree on the Mundo. Baron's still up for grabs. Double kill. Down goes Amazing, and Schalke are going to get cleaned off the map. That's a triple kill for Perks. Make that a quadra and pick up the Baron to boot.
G2 grab everything as they secure the Baron. Perks picks up 4 kills, and Schalke leave with nothing.
We saw a brief flash on Schalke's coach, Andre Guholto, and that pretty much says it all. Just, that falls flat.
The decision-making here from Schalke was sound. They recognized that G2 is too far away, there's no way they can collapse in time, but Schalke just couldn't take the Baron down fast enough, and all 5 members show up to stop the play from happening. The smite comes through from Perks. Unfortunately, he's always able to steal it away, and Kai'Sa just wasn't touched. This isn't the kind of fight that you want to be having in the Baron pit, and G2 get a much earlier Baron than they probably initially anticipated.
And the gold snowballs out of control at this point. They find themselves up 8,000 in 22 minutes, and, well, the damage graph, at least on the G2 side, is going to be pretty consistent throughout the course of this game, I would say. Perks being the by far and away leader in the game. Also has a Death's Dance picked up in addition to his other items right now.
Yep, very scary. There's the level 16. 3.5 items are done. On his way to working towards the 4th. Baron is ready, and G2 have the base of Schalke set on their eyes. They have their eyes set on the sights.
They have the base set on their eyes.
That's
okay.
the word, yeah.
That's a little weird, but that's okay. G2 are going to win this one, it looks like. And Perks may not have had the same exact amount of kills and assists as last time, and I don't know if he broke his CS record, but I think he's going to be pretty happy with the results all the same. Amazing trying to wait around the side for a flank, but if he waits too much longer, I don't think there's going to be much of a base left to defend. Down goes the inhibitor, and he's just watching.
Upset gets forced out. Wonder's already brought a wave bot. Perks is just melting through the Schalke roster as G2, they're going to secure themselves a second inhib.
Yeah, really looking just infallible at this point. The funnel has completed. Perks has become an absolute terror. Amazing's left reeling, just running away from his own base because all of G2 set their sights on him, and there's only going to be one more inhibitor tower if they even want to take it. Nuke Duck, he's going to get knocked up by the Ornhorns and taken down. Perks goes godlike on the kill. Upset sends a culling straight into Yankos' face, but he's able to tank up through most of it. These towers are getting cut through pretty easily like a hot knife through butter. And then Bash and Crash, they just keep on taking the damage. Vizicachi's going to heal up most of it. G2 Esports perfectly happy to keep taking this fight as long as they keep Perks protected, but he's got to be careful. He's going to get shut down. Upset senses the moment is nigh that they can maybe turn around G2 Esports, and all of a sudden G2 have lost their damage dealer.
Yeah, G2 have nothing left. They have to back away. Perks overstepped. Finally, his first death of the summer split. It was Schalke that was able to deliver it. They defend their base for a little while longer. The Baron buff wears out, and Schalke hold on. But let's look back at how this this steamrolling G2 take away the most of the base. Nukeduck just wants to get a bit of poke down. The Ornalt follows him away. And there's just little that Schalke can do. They can't really hard commit to a fight. Their tanks aren't tanky enough. Perks is level 16 to level 12 of his Itachi. That front line just disappears. But here, Perks, I believe he takes tower aggro. He also gets knocked up and chain CC'd. And the damage for upset and amazing is actually enough to secure the kill.
So the unfortunate miscommunication there was that they not only funneled the resources, they funneled damage onto him as well. So Perks finally finds the grave. He still comes back pretty strong. Frozen Mallet completed for him now. And G2, they are only stocked, not stocking.
Just an extra bit of sticking power for Perks, level 17. It's looking dire for Schalke. Chatted with Amazing on the podcast, and he said we should be able to win. He knew it was hard because G2 looked very good. Obviously, Schalke is still going through a couple of growing pains with the reintroduction of Amazing to not only the pro scene, but into a new team environment. And while he does seem overall pretty positive and trying to bring a good culture to the team, right now they are not quite able to match the prowess that is G2 Esports, and they are setting their sights on a 3-0 as we kick off week 2.
Yeah, indeed they are. G2 Esports with a massive Baron power play, still looking to try and end this one. And I want to look at the items again because Wonder's got himself an Ohm Wrecker.
Yeah, maybe they want to look for dives. Very rare purchase, but when it happens, G2 are so far ahead, they feel confident enough to do it.
At this point, might as well. Perks goes in, Perks goes out, he gets swallowed up by Wadid, and there goes the knockups all across the board between the Ornn and the Braum, and they just come right back stronger than ever. Perks has found his Itachi, and he is making him look like not a tank at all. So with Vander about to fall down, Nukeduck desperately trying to get back to his base. That's the triple kill for Perks. This looks clean as clockwork. Maybe a minor hook, hiccup, a cog in the machine, a quadra kill. Perks decides, you know what? I'm gonna get this one. You better let me have it. Down goes Vizichachi and the penta from Perks.
He gets himself the penta, they get themselves the Nexus. G2 go 3-0.
Well earned. There's the ace, there's the base. GG, good night, and a big smile on Perks' face.
I must admit, this is one of the easier comps to get a pentakill on, but still.
Don't take this away from him, man.
12, 1, and 2. Great performance from Perks. G2 looking very clean, and like it all came off the back of that big single decision around the Baron area. Schalke recognized this could be an opportunity for us. Let's try and rush the objective down. We can steal this away when G2 are on the opposite side of the map, but with the Tahm Kench ultimate, with the teleports, they were able to respond in time and stop Schalke from doing it. They got 4 kills, they got a Baron, and at that point, Schalke were just too far behind to really contest. And 18,000 gold Kaisar, level 17, at just under 27 minutes into the game.
Funnel works, and Perks is very happy with how it happened. Now, I'm glad he gave some props to Schalke for, you know, making the right call, just not necessarily being able to fire down that Baron early enough or fast enough, and giving it over to G2 Esports. It is hard to play against this comp. It feels very oppressive when it gets off to even a decent start.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we didn't really see a huge amount from Schalke. I thought the smite on the Zoe was quite interesting. Took away some of the jungle camps. They kind of close to Perks for a little while, but Chachi was someone that really struggled during the laning phase. He died a lot. Yes, he did get ganked, but that kind of happened a lot after he died 1v1 to Wonder, and you can't afford to be making those kind of mistakes. At all, especially
I mean, on a Mundo too, like pre-6 of course, but still. But on the flip side, props to Wonder. This guy was a beast.
I mean, yeah, I feel like Wonder's just been one of the most consistent top laners that we've had here in Europe. Naturally diversifying his champion pool as well, because when G2 at the finals just had only Wonder target bans, it's a little bit worrying, and while he has always been able to play these tanks, the rest of the team couldn't quite optimize when he wasn't on something like a carry. So we are seeing a lot of diversity from this G2 squad right now. Things meshing together. Currently sit at the top of here.
Yeah, they found themselves a funnel not once but twice. It worked out really well. Of course, we saw them play some different stuff. Now, in our matchup of the week, Perks, Wonder, and Jankos all stepped up to secure the victory. If you think one of them deserves to be player of the game, be sure to hit us up at LOL Esports on Twitter and vote for your favorite. But for more on G2's win, let's get some thoughts from Dracos and the boys.
Thank you, Pyro. I'm Dracos. These are the boys. We talk about this one-sided game, if we're honest. Let's take a look back at the highlight moment that defined it all for Mr. Luka Perkovic. Let's take a look at that pentakill. Now, he's pretty far ahead, so this doesn't seem unreasonable to me, but why don't we run through it anyway?
Yeah, Perks right now is a giant ball of stats, and he train wrecks through Shock. That's actually a really nice Ornn ultimate there from his top laner, but
He gets the fadeaway, man. You don't see those often. Just throw out the skill shot and walk away. Just keep grabbing kills.
I mean, he's level 17 right now. It's not really like Schalke stand much of a chance. This man is just so strong. I do like the team coordination here to hold TP in and track down the fifth.
I thought this was the European LCS version, all Argentinians. Russian mid laner to be popping up for a Spencer kill.
What a lad.
Argentinian flame and your DM's pretty cool. Shout out to Perks. Yeah, that's great. Really, I mean, an all-star performance from this guy, but as we pull up picks and bans here, I think it's important to note that despite the fact that this game went to crap for Schalke pretty quickly, we did like what they were showing in the draft.
Look, I loved everything I saw out of Schalke in the draft phase. And then we got into the game, and it didn't go so well for them. The first rotation, Zoe plus Xin Zhao. This is made to go for early aggression and make plays, and that just never happened. I was waiting for the whole game to see it, and I never got it.
I liked everything that Schalke did until the game started. That's basically how I'm going to summarize your point there. And it was, they had the tools to succeed, absolutely. And I love the way everything they picked, it just seemed like aggression, aggression, aggression. I was like, this is going to be a really bloody exciting game. And then when the game happened, it was less exciting.
So we didn't see quite the aggression we wanted from mid-jungle, but the biggest issue when we look at this game does feel like the top lane, and more importantly, the biggest strength for G2 looked like Wonder. This man was a monster. Let's take a look back at his early game kills because it feels like he broke the game wide open on individual skill alone.
It was just in the 1v1. In the top lane, he is solo killing on Ornn, of all things. And I was watching that play. Me and Foxy were watching, and then he got the solo kill, and we're like, man, this game might just be over because you can't fall behind against the funnel strat. And Wonder made it happen.
And exact point, I just want to really emphasize what you said. Individual skill in an Ornn versus Mundo matchup. If you're going to tell me there will be some individual outplays in skill, that's one lane I would have said would have happened. And Vizicachi, nonetheless, was his victim. This guy is no pushover. He's a bloody good player. Wonder's absolutely.
I mean, but a testament to Wonder's ability.
He's even a level down. You got to recall right before this play happens. Vizicachi's down to 30% HP. You have to go back to base. Wonder realizes he didn't, even though he's down a level. It doesn't matter. The Ornn is a lane bully. He does a lot of damage in those 1v1s, and Chachi just didn't respect it.
Yeah, and a lot of players
Yeah, and I think that was pretty much the final moment at the end of the game. Of course, the rest of G2 didn't play it out very well. Schalke, though, you can see what happens when you're against these funnel strats. I want to credit them. They knew it came down to desperation moves. They made a desperation move, but let's take a look at that Baron that they tried to rush. 21-minute Barons and the EU LCS. Gentlemen, a more iconic duo I cannot think of.
I mean, Schalke, they remember their game from last week, and they're like, man, Fnatic were losing the game the whole time, and then they went for Baron at 21 minutes. Guys, let's do it. Let's do it ourselves. It just did not work out that way.
I feel a bit better about Schalke's Baron in this game because this is more of a Hail Mary. We're screwed if we don't go for it. We're probably screwed if we go for it and it fails, which is what happened. But I do give a little bit of respect and props to Schalke for being a bit more proactive in a game that they were most likely going to lose if they just rolled over. They would end up dying there. And hey, they went for it. I'm gonna give them plus points for that. I'm not gonna give them victory points for it because they absolutely aren't gonna get a victory out of that.
You need the Nexus for the win.
I give it to him for trying.
Well, coming up next, Fnatic with Reckless are looking to take down H2K. More on that in an interview with Youngbuck to give us some context after the break.
Looking for a space for himself, but can he really be the leader? We haven't really seen it just yet in this particular game. Chachi taking up tower shots. Meanwhile, it's just a crazy fight. Nuke's going to start off by picking off Yarnin and Wonder. And Wadid, they're going to get left for dead here. But it's going to be a tower traded in the inner.
Of course. It's fine, guys, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Yeah.
Another one. Yeah, Perks goes in. Killer Instinct onto Vizicachi. Can't dodge him forever. Yankos ends up with the final shot.
God.
Hey. Vander trying to move around the side. Here comes the Ornn Horns. And they're going to knock up two. Let's see the Baron doing all the work for him. Perks picking up a killing spree on the Mundo. Baron's still up for grabs. Double kill, down goes Amazing. And Shaka gonna get cleaned off the map. That's a triple kill for Perks. Make that a quadra.
It's over.
There goes the knockups all across the board between the Ornn and the Braum, and they just come right back stronger than ever. Perks has found Visit Chachi, and he is making him look like not a tank at all. So with Vander about to fall down, Nuke Duck desperately trying to get back to his base. That's the triple kill for Perks. This looked clean as clockwork. Maybe
Yes, I'm happy.
You better let me have it. Down goes Visit Chachi, and the penta from Perks.
He gets himself the Penta, they get themselves the Nexus. G2 go 3-0.
Well earned. There's the base. GG, good night, and a Perks' face.
And welcome back to the EULCS. We are moments away from Fnatic taking on H2K. But before we get to the game, I've taken a moment or two to catch up with Youngbuck to talk about the news today. Of course, Reckless is not playing. We've seen all the messages and the tweets. Fnatic have been saying that it was a strategic decision. Can you explain to me a little bit about what the strategic reasons were as to why Reckless is playing?
After our last week's performance, we really wanted to go back to playing a standard style. And with that also came a lot of with other regions. And what we found out is that a lot of top laners are being played in the AD carry position. So when we discussed this with Reckless, he was the one who suggested to actually try out Repo in AD carry position because he felt that if we are going to play a player who has already played hundreds and thousands of matches with these champions, it would be much better for a team than for him to actually have to learn like 5 new champions.
That's really interesting. And of course, talking about, Reckless bringing it up, the question that I've seen a lot over the last sort of, 24 to 36 hours was about whether Reckless benched himself or whether it was the, coaching staff that said this is the best decision. So, where does that sort of lie?
So like I just mentioned, Martin did indeed come up with it himself, and we actually accepted it. It made a lot of sense because for him to train 6 new champions in a week is very difficult to do for any player. So we scrimmed with both Reckless and with Repo, and the results were good. So we decided we were going to try Repo at least one of the games, and initially we were going to do it against Vitality. But then Martin actually really pushed for, hey, I think you guys should do it against H2K, and if it works, we can evaluate again for Vitality.
I mean, that's really good to know. Of course, you're about to play H2K, so let's step away from the news and the roster now, knowing that Bwipo's going to be down the bottom lane, and so is in the top lane. What is the plan going into this matchup against H2K?
Well, we're going to play champions that both SOAS, Caps, and Repo are good at, and that can be flexed throughout the draft.
Okay, so
that's pretty clear.
The same that we've seen on every other pick and ban so far.
Yeah, of course, there's a lot of nervousness though, because this is something that not many teams have done, especially in Europe. So if it goes wrong, it can go very wrong.
Yeah, definitely. Luckily, week 2 of the split is the time to experiment. Thank you so much for giving me the insights, and good luck with the game.
Thank you very much.
All right, back to you, Dracos, and the rest of the boys.
Thank you very much, Quickshot. Now, I love it. I love the mentality, the attitude. Hey, a lot of stuff can go wrong. This can definitely backfire. That's true because you're fighting all these flex champs. It's also true because you're not playing Reckless. And let me tell you, when the Fnatic fans see a game without Reckless be a loss for Fnatic, they're going to look at him, they're going to look him straight in the face, they're going to go,
But it's one of those great situations where you have like plausible deniability. We're just like, hey, when you look at this rationally, this makes sense, guys. Top lane champions in the bot lane, get a top lane. And if it doesn't work out, you can be like, we tried, we put Bwipo down. He's not a bot laner. At least we gave it a go. They have so much plausible deniability here.
So do you want to talk a little bit about why these changes are coming out? Of course, you've heard champion pool, but also when we take a look back at Fnatic in week 1, we talked about it 1-1 record. Really went wrong here.
Well, I think one of the big issues was that they concentrated a lot of their resources onto Caps, and I felt like that a lot of teams came into the week very prepared for this kind of funnel strategy. We've seen a variety of different ways to kind of combat it, but one of the biggest issues that Fnatic had was sacrificing their side lanes. They drafted so many supports that many of their opposition just drafted hard-winning bots, and they used those hard-winning bots to invade, get control, and as a result, Fnatic constantly fell into massive early game deficits.
And when I hear that they're bringing Bwipo into the bottom lane, that means we're not seeing the Janna, we're not seeing the Karma, we're going to see him stepping up more on a little bit of a trade. Yeah, I keep trying to tell myself that, right? Try to say it enough times and it'll become true, but alongside Caps too, huge carries for Fnatic.
Absolutely want to see it now. I want to take a look at the opposite side as well. Their opponent's H2K, I think. Also a similarly rough start. Fnatic, of course, coming out on top after surprising H2K. Not quite as fortunate. 0-2 in week 1. What were the issues for them compared to Fnatic?
Right, they were drafting for the late game similar to Fnatic. I think it was a very similar story, even though they were running the funnel strategy. It was more of they drafted for the late game, and then they didn't have much pressure coming out of the jungle position to set them up to actually get to that point.
Yeah, I think that often what we saw from H2K last split was that they won through late game team fighting. Some epic moments like against G2 and against Fnatic as well, were just those late game pivotal moments where we saw carries like Selfie and Sheriff really come into their own. But in order to get to that point, you have to enable it with the jungle, which is why my eyes are on Shook to probably set up these carries to be big.
Now, gentlemen, we are very close now to picks and bans. I want to hit predictions here quickly. There's a lot to say about this match. And Ender, I have to go to you first because you're the only person on the only one, baby, to pick H2K. So I'm going to need some rationale here. What's the justification?
Oh yeah, the first one is that I don't know, I can't tell you how well Fnatic are going to play with Bwipo down in the bottom. Hey guys, I love seeing their faces. Box shop coming to you guys soon. But alongside that, I do have faith. While there's some confusion for Fnatic not playing with Reckless, for Selfie and Sheriff to step up for H2K.
You're getting too big for your britches, youngin'. It's only your second week in the ULCS, and you're suddenly saying that H2K, you're going off the rails, my friend. Fnatic, they've changed up their strat. They knew exactly what went wrong, and this team is
very good at adapting. I would be very surprised if this was a clean game for Fnatic.
Shut him down, Betty. Let him know. Let him know. All right, we're going to see if HBK can take down the new Fnatic lineup. Here are our casters for picks and bans.
And welcome to the Cast Desk, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Quickshot. I'm joined by Foxdrop. Welcome to our EU LCS casting debut, buddy.
I'm really bloody excited because you know I do well.
What's that?
We chat a lot of shit.
Oh, that's the plan. That's exactly what we're looking for. Some good cheeky bants, is that right?
Absolutely, mate. That's what I'm here for.
So listen, we never actually got finalized. Fox drop, quick shot, Fox shots. Which direction do we go?
I like Fox shot, but I heard the old quick drop was quite popular as well.
Okay,
so
okay.
Quick Fox actually maybe was one. I heard some
quick foxes. You're gonna have to let us know. We'll have to make a poll. Maybe we can make it a ready check discussion for tomorrow. But listen, Foxy. We're jumping into picks and bans. We know that Reckless is not on the roster. We heard from Youngbuck talking about the strategy, about these top lane geezers that are getting picked in the bottom lane.
Absolutely.
What champions would you like to see them play?
I want to see them not go for a funnel strategy because you can't spell funnel without fun, which is ironic because it's terribly unfun to watch a funnel strategy. So I want to see them just play a little bit more. Well, because hey, Reckless isn't playing, that wouldn't make much sense. But just something a bit more aggressive. Maybe we saw, like the last game, Wonder really whips it out on that Ornn. Maybe we get an Ornn going through as well. And that is an insta-lock first pick Nocturne.
Now the question is, where is it going? You know, because
if Venius has his way,
it'll be mid
lane.
That's something I think Caps actually said last week, if I recall correctly. With Zoe being banned, by the way, she's the only champion that remains 100% presence, pick or ban. Irelia was on the list, as was Lulu earlier today, but both of them have had at least one game unpicked. But Vladimir is the response, and I think we're going to be seeing this throughout the draft. We don't really know where these champions are going.
I mean, it's a double-edged sword. I was thinking about this before I even came to the LCS, that why am I coming in as an analyst / color on a patch where nothing makes sense? Certain expectations of me being able to deliver, but actually there are no expectations.
To be fair,
no one knows anything.
I've watched your streams, mate, and when I was like, nothing makes sense, who's the guy to break down 8-12? Your name was right there.
Wow, that is high praise from you.
Exactly, it is indeed.
It's a slight, well, I don't even know, was that an insult?
You take it as you will.
Either way, it was slightly an insult or slightly a compliment, I will take it.
Well, take a look at the
picks and bans. Probably means that that is a jungle Nocturne. Most likely going to be a jungle Nocturne, but we could even see that bot lane Whippo.
So where would you then put the Mundo and the Irelia? Irelia bot for now?
Well, this is the thing, is we could see that mid. Irelia has historically been that mid lane pick, and so right now it looks like it could be, in theory, we're being very tentative on this patch. It could be an Irelia mid, the Mundo top, the Nocturne into jungle, but I would not be surprised to see one of those picks moving down.
I guess phase 2 bans might give us a little bit of insight into what direction the teams are going to go. And first one off the table is going to be the Ornn. I'm looking back at some of the previous champions. Whippo last week played the Singed, Soaz played the Shogun, some of those other bruiser types that we've seen. Aatrox definitely a flavor of the month, or flavor of the patch, as it were.
And this is the problem with this phase 2 ban, is no one really knows where anything's going. Usually you reserve these bans for counter picks in the roles that are role is left open when everything basically is a flex pick on this patch. So they're just going to get rid of these tanky picks and perhaps assume that Whippo is still yet to pick his champion, because he could have gone for this Ornn, he could have gone for that Swain in the bot lane. So what I want to see though, it might be a bit ridiculous to want to see it, but I want to see a Pyke coming through here from Fnatic. I'd love to see Hylissang on Pyke. He's one of those better playmaking supports, as both Hylissang and Pyke.
Yeah, exactly. Fits Hylissang's playstyle, and the champion fits the kit. I've seen a Vlad Pyke bottom lane several times already, and we're going to get some more spiciness here as Fiora is locked in. So where are you going to put either of these things? Rise, I've also seen bot lane as well, a fair amount. So it's still anybody's guess. The timer goes down to 20 seconds after the final pick, and then we'll know who's going to win.
My impression is that they've picked this Fiora to run into Irelia / Mundo, but it does pretty well. Ah, there's the Pyke.
There you go.
Himself. Beautiful stuff. I think Fiora's good into both those champions, but hey, even at this point, you kind of got to get a gamble as to which lane is going, like which champion's going into which lane. So where do you stick this Fiora? What matchup are you looking for specifically? And like I think that this draft right now is fairly well balanced, honestly.
All right, let's see what HCK do to round out their team composition. Got a lot of fairly short-range melee champions on the side of Fnatic, but the engage power with Pyke, Ryze, Ulti, and Nocturne, how they can synergize is very, very high. H2K will round out the draft with that Ziggs, and they got themselves 25 seconds to shuffle around. I don't know, Ryze mid, Aurelia bots. What do you think?
It's so tough, honestly. It's such a toss-up. I'm honestly not I'm kind of expecting it to stay like this, just because I would imagine that Caps is a much better Ryze player than Whippo is.
Yeah.
But Aurelia has seen a lot of play in that mid lane, so I would not be fully surprised to see Caps pick it up from that. There you go, from that perspective.
Yeah.
So there it is. They leave it for the last second just to juke out the enemy team. They have to lock in their swaps at 20, so 21, there it is.
So theoretically, this was the meta placements, as in Ryze bot lane with the Pyke, Caps running their Aurelia in the mid. But one thing that is very important for anybody that has watched LPL games or LCK games, seeing these champions swapping lanes often, regularly, frequently, is something that happens a whole lot. So brace yourselves, we could see these guys moving in between lanes, Foxtrot.
We also saw that in one of the previous games as well with Vitality when they had the Lulu and the Darius. They were swapping lanes around a lot too. So yeah, we could even within these players seemingly locked in that top lane and the mid lane and stuff, they could move around a little bit as well. And for me though, I would say summoner spells are the biggest indication of where someone's going. If you've got teleport, or specifically teleport, you're probably not going into that top lane, which is what we're seeing out of Aurelia and the Vladimir.
So that'll give us a very clear indication, mid or bottom. And
very clear, I would not say just yet.
Well, play it out. I'm willing to make a prediction. I think, I'll put it on the cards. Fnatic and H2K doing battle for game 4 here of patch 8.12. Fnatic, of course, 1-1 after last week's performance, and H2K still looking for their first win in the summer split. Will today be the day? I guess we're going to find out in a few minutes' time. Minion Dematerializer picked up for Promiscu on that top Kench. A couple of stopwatches as well on the kit, so nothing too surprising yet. Also, when I'm looking down the keystone, so which lane would you look at as a jungle main yourself? You know, when you see these comps coming together.
I wish you'd stop leading with because you're putting certain expectations of me to know what I'm talking about. Which, let's be real, I absolutely don't. But I would like to say that you've picked this Trundle, and who is Trundle good at running? It's the tanks, and Dr. Mundo is obviously Fnatic line. Fiora has been picked to run into that Mundo too, so if you play around that Fiora, you can win that split push in the top lane. You can shred those resistances with the subjugate from the Trundle, and then Fiora, Smitty J on Fiora can have a much nicer time of things up top. Bramble Vest is a real pain for Fiora, but still, the aim of the game there with that Fiora pick is to win that top side, and you might need a little bit of help to make that happen. So I wouldn't be fully surprised, especially considering the rest of the lanes are a little bit hard to help.
Okay.
Top lane's more of a focus.
All right, we'll keep our eyes then on the jungle pathing as the next few minutes play out. But just before we get to that, I just want to remind everybody how long it's been since Rekkles has not been on the starter for Fnatic. 286 EULCS games, 1,378 days since Rekkles was a starter. And obviously with Rekkles at the helm, that's a pretty good win rate. Now the reason, of course, he's not there, if we take a look at some of the stats from week 1, Foxtrot, that Janna and that Karma performance from last week in the current meta, it did not make Rekkles' damage per minute or his effective damage per gold earned particularly good.
How salty do you reckon Rekkles would have been if Fnatic genuinely drafted an AD carry this game? Just thought, just Whippo, stick him on the Ez or something like that.
Yep.
I would have been pretty miffed. But as it stands, this is not the Ez. So Rekkles is sitting at home, he's a little bit more comfortable. 66 damage per minute is a little on the low side.
Yes, exceptionally low.
Not that great, honestly. A little bit crap, so not really the performance you're expecting out of someone like Rekkles.
Exactly.
But, I mean, he wasn't
with his caliber, with his, but even a Karma in lane will deal some damage. So nevertheless, this is the scenario we find ourselves in. Obviously, the damage per gold earned. The number was incorrect first. It was plus 22. It was actually 0.22. Thank you for updating that to our graphics team. And as we take a look, Hylissang is going to find the hook. Pull Promiscu backwards. They trade some damage, but as it stands right now, it's both of those control mages just waiting to set something up. Whereas Caps trades some damage, gets that Defiant Dance down, and all standard, so to speak, in terms of the
Relatively.
8-12.
Yeah. Standard is a difficult...
It's a loose term.
A loose term to throw out on this patch, that's for sure. And Shook might be looking to get something cheeky in this mid lane here as Caps has his wave pushing towards H2K's tower.
Got himself his flash. Let's see what Caps can do to outplay. All right, Flawless Duet is available. Let's take a look what he does. Stun will not find a target, but a very good Blade Surge. Gets Caps to safety and really didn't want to risk a potential Ignite transfusion, so he flashes to safety.
Exactly, and that's the flash down from Caps, which always means potential for a revisit, a regank a bit later on. Maybe even post level 6, this will mean that Promiscu can roam into the mid lane with his ultimate, maybe get a full-on kind of team-wide gank going in that mid lane, but if nothing else, it also tempers the aggression that Fnatic can put out in that mid, because there's always a chance you get countered, you got no flash, you get screwed. So a nice gank there by Shook. Caps uses his flash.
All right, so let's see how the reganks go. Of course, these Aurelians get significantly more difficult to gank as he gets closer to level 6. Sheriff will actually get feared. An unspeakable horror sends him away from Rox. There was no support though. Whippo and Hennessy went in range, so a little bit of an optimistic gank.
It's so hard to do anything realistically before you're level 6 into this lane, or really any lane, honestly, if you're Broxer. There's not a huge amount of gank setup, and most of the lanes from H2K are pretty safe, honestly. And Nocturne is not picked because he's got these good early game pressure. He's a strong early game champion. That's the distinction that people sometimes forget. He's not weak early. If you run into Nocturne, he will absolutely beat you down, but it's hard for him to play a more proactive sense. And this is something I think a little bit slack, honestly, on H2K side. They have pushing lanes on both mid and bot. This should mean that the bot side priority is 100% in their favor. You should not be losing bot side settle when you have these pushing lanes. It feels like a bit of wasted potential.
And unfortunately, it means H2K are not going to take advantage of that pressure. H2K have not been a pretty strong early game team really all year long. But if you look at their stats from week 1, on average down 1.8k, no first bloods, no first towers. And that is a trend that H2K have been true of. Actually, if people remember the first time H2K played Spring Split, Sheriff played lane, they went to super ultra mega late game, and Sheriff carried on. It was the start of the, Sheriff hype train, so to speak. Not quite the same on Ziggs.
Not quite, but it's at least it's slightly better than picking a Gemma or a Karma or something like that. He has slightly higher carry potential on that champion, and we're 6 minutes into the game now, Trevor, which means that the solo laners are about to hit level 6. Within the next few minutes, we might see the game open up a little bit more as his ultimates get unlocked, specifically from the junglers. Roxer with his paranoia, he'll be looking to do something a bit proactive as well, but even Shook, you have that flash down in mid lane to regank, or maybe, like I mentioned at the beginning of the game, is this the time you want to start putting pressure onto that top lane?
Yeah.
So you can get that Fiora unlocked, because now she has her grand challenge, she will be able to start beating someone in the 1v1.
Exactly. Got that Conqueror, got the Tiamat already, just used teleport back to lane. So Smitty J is looking to get unlocked. Hillisang, a very loud Ghost Water there, manages to push down. I want to see what Hilly can do. He's a player that is pretty famous for being on the front line, for better and for worse at times. But I think Pyke is definitely that champion that falls into his play kit, falls into his style. I want to see if he can find himself some skewers and go fishing for H2K members.
It's going to be a free dragon for H2K, but speaking of being on the front line, attracting attention in a sense, Hillisang has 2 biscuits in his pocket. And cookies and biscuits, people like those. So if you don't want to draw attention to yourself, it's not a good idea to have those in your pocket.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with the Brits on the caster desk. You're going to have a couple up here. You're going to have to...
If there's a cup of tea, so by the way, the worst thing about German hotels, no kettles in the room.
Oh, shocking. I've actually seen travel kettles that a lot of British people fly with in their luggage.
Oh, really?
Which seems insane
do
to
that.
me. Yeah, with the size of a small water bottle, actually.
I respect that. As an invention, I respect that.
Yeah, you're going to have to look into it. Right?
Absolutely.
We're going to be coming out to Berlin a few more times in the summer split, so get those kettles, Foxy.
I will do my best.
Well, let's say even in gold, no real gank attempts yet. Shook kind of showed his face, but so did Brox, in fact, with that unspeakable horror earlier in the game. And the first real serious attempt is now Caps potentially going top. I'm trying to see where Broxer is. We've got the H2K vision on, so nobody knows on the H2K side either. And obviously SmittyJ spots him, so he backs away nice and safe. He's not going to put himself at risk.
I think I'm a little bit disappointed with the splash was down. Hadn't really been able to do it. They didn't punish him for having that flash down, and always feels like a bit of a wasted opportunity. And Broxah is looking for this top lane gank here.
Well, let's take a look. Darkness is the call. Broxah's chasing in. There's a lot of damage going down into SmittyJ to dial back the excitement. That was a really clean, really easily secured game.
That's lights out for SmittyJ, and that's quite troubling in that top lane when you're looking. You pick this Bureau with the specific intention to run into that Dr. Mundo and put huge amounts of pressure in that 1v1 situation. And you do not want to get put behind, I can tell you that much. Like, if this Bureau cannot 1v1 Mundo, it completely nullifies the whole intention of this pick.
Well, let's see what SmittyJ can do, because of course Fio's got that ability to scale. Will be able to apply some silent pressure, of course, but there are tools to deal with that. Oh, Elisand misses the skewer. Promising just goes for that devour. Mega Inferno Bomb bounces down. As well as an explosive minefield, just to push this wave in. 98 CS to 85. Sheriff marginally climbing ahead. Elisand still sitting on his best, as you can see.
Yeah, absolutely. This CS lead in the bot lane is a bit to be expected, exactly for the reason you're seeing here. H2K just pushing in, and Shock is having a bit, he's going to boost his jungle proximity stats here, but I'm not quite sure if it's a particularly useful use of his time. Not really going to be able to do too much there. If this was a situation where perhaps he's involved, maybe you can set up that game. But I'm in the bot lane start. If it's just Shook, it's not going to happen. He walks away, he goes back to farming. This has been a bit of a criticism of Shook that we've seen in his early performances in the summer split, not really being able to do too much. And there it is, a jungle proximity. Not a zero. Really? Is that actually a stat?
That's correct. So last week, Shook unfortunately not involved in any kills or assists at 15, and of course the jungle proximity is the amount of time that he spends around his laners during the early games.
Maybe that's why he's picked Nocturne a lot. What's Nocturne called?
It's fairly low. The Unspeakable Horror is
yeah, and that is a horrifying stat right there from Shook. So maybe that's what he was doing after all. But either way, he's playing Trundle, not so horrifying. You could call him ugly, but if you've seen that splash art, have you seen that kind of daddy splash art from Trundle?
I have, yes.
You can't call him ugly.
No, you absolutely can't, but let's see whether or not Helisang will be able to find a skewer this time round. Sanguine Pool comes out. If there was any risk there, but look, the first items have been picked up. It's a 1,000 gold lead for Fnatic, thanks to the first blood, which, by the way, just as a stat that I'd like to point out very quickly, that was Brox's first blood involvement. They split. There's only been 3 opportunities.
Yeah.
That's like 1 in 3, but I'll take it.
It's alright, it's something, you know, and it's good that in this specific game especially, you want to get that ball rolling, and I like the fact that he did it in that top lane, because like I mentioned, you do not want to fall behind against that Fiora. But having this Rift Herald now, I love it when we get early Rift Herald plays, because now the whole kind of game, it's so much easier to do punishing plays, if that makes sense. So if you're going to kill, suddenly now you can get a tower. If you overextend for something, you know, the towers open up hugely here, and we'll have to see what H2K can do.
Well, let's see what Heli and Whippo can do. The skewer tagged onto Promiscue. Mega Inferno Bomb comes down. Here's the Paranoia, as well as the Werewolf. Whippo's going to jump into Promiscue, and that's the engaged power we were talking about. Helisang jumps in there for the kill secure. I think it was the kill. I'm quite sure on the sound effect. Regardless, second kill for Fnatic.
But it's so aggressive from H2K here to be playing that far up when you know you're against an Nocturne with Paranoia, the king of counter ganks, and your jungler's on the top side of the map. But Shook finally looking for his first proper get. No, he's not never.
I mean, this is opportunistic, right? Yes, there's an executioner's calling for SmittyJ. That's going to help a lot against Soaz on the ultimate, but this is going to take so much time to get through a Mundo.
But that's the point of the subjugate, you know? That's the whole intention of it right there. And here he goes. So he's whipped down this Rift. I can't talk. Here comes H2K.
There's going to be a little boop onto the tower here. I think that's a big boop. Drops the mid lane tower to about 15%. Caps dashes in, and Broxah, I think, with a smite or whatever that was, just kill the Rift Herald. H2K are not done with the siege, Foxtrot.
Tower health means everything and nothing. Schrodinger's first blood tower right here. If they can get it, it's everything. If they don't, it's nothing.
All right, Vanguard's edge is thrown out. Caps is looking for the kill. Takes down Shook. Blade surges forward. Jump chasing yet. Selfish Ignite manages to burn down Caps. It's a 1-for-1. And Schrodinger's tower is both alive and dead as it stands tall.
absolutely. And 1 for 1, it breaks the siege, which is not too bad if you're Fnatic's perspective right there. But that is a ridiculously low health tower, and that's exactly what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
This is now where the whole... Okay, it's dead.
There we go. It's Schrodinger's. It's Schrodinger's. It was both alive and dead. But for HTK, that's their first tower.
I forgot that Ziggs does Ziggs things, you know, and just press W and the tower died. But that is first blood tower, like we mentioned, and that is the benefit of getting that Rift Herald and breaking that down. It's the perfect place to get first blood tower because, whoa, okay, that was a bit weird, but Promiscu is over the wall.
Promiscu's actually been pulled over. Hylissang and Bwipo not necessarily on the same page, but here comes Shook from the north. Hylissang, death from below, jumping down onto Promiscu. And of course, the undead pirate will kill the catfish with ease.
That was basically what happened from reverse a little while ago, but oh, here we go, we've got another gank in the top side.
Man, Fnatic are just on fire right now. Soaz goes golden thanks to the use of the stopwatch. Broxa picks up his second kill of the game. And the tower's going to be under pressure. Shook needs to make something happen here. He's got an assist under his belt, and Hylissang is flashless. Hylissang is getting spotted out, dashes forward, manages to pull the ghost, the skewer onto Shook. Bwipo's running a little bit low on mana, teleport into the top as well as the Realm Warp. Shook is the first target with a burning agony ticking, and those infected cleavers slowing Shook's escape. Sheriff is the next target, but here comes Selfie. He's got no ultimate available, no flash available either, and Selfie for the time being is enough to push them away. Soaz jumps forward, he's got a double cleaver with a slap to the face from the cleaver. Bwipo staying alive, now ignited. He's going to get burned to death. On the left of your screen, Smitty J picks up a kill under the tower. Here comes Caps. There's a party. Everybody's invited. And for the time being, everybody's going to die. It's a double for Caps. Soaz picks up his third of the fight. H2K with a delayed ace.
What on earth did we just watch right there? And Broxa wasn't even in the fight. It was topside split pushing. That was ridiculous. One after another. And in the end, Fnatic dedicate less resources to that play and actually come out on top. This was absolutely bonkers here. A little bit, honestly, overforced here from Shook. I mean, it's such a hard lane to gank, especially when you don't have mercs. But a really, really decent counter gank here with the teleport. And you know this is all going to go really scary from this point on. But I want to focus here on Selfie, who joins this fight a little bit late, but crucially, without his ultimate. Vladimir without his ulti, really not that useful. Like you say, it's a party and everyone's invited. Teleports come through, the Abyssal Voids came through, and it's just like Smitty J can pick some things up on the backside, but it's not really going to be enough. And then
every single time I just hear this voice in my head, a new challenger appears.
Yeah.
A new challenger appears. A new challenger appears.
It is absolutely insane. It's just, you know, it's like you're fighting that has multiple health points. You get one down and then the next one, and it's just impossible to win.
I actually think it's like a boss that can summon OP mobs. Every single time they summon new mob ability.
You know, I know you're a Dishonored fan.
I am indeed.
Have you played the Dow?
No, I have not, unfortunately.
You can do that. That's exactly irrelevant and relevant at the same time.
It is. Hylissang could fit into that universe with
absolutely.
flawlessly.
Absolutely.
Talking about Hylissang, by the way, 2-1-2. The gold lead for Fnatic is 5k up. They got a Mountain Drake as well. This is looking pretty good for the Fnatic without Reckless today.
Considering Fnatic have not had the best early games, this is a pretty good early game, honestly. You're 5k up at 17 minutes. The impressive thing for what Fnatic's been able to do thus far is it's not just about kills, even though they're so far ahead of Mo's and they're out, easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's the fact that they're able to get towers. As we're talking about this, they're getting a tower in the bot side. As that fight happened a while back, Broxa got tower in that top side too. So huge props for Fnatic to be able to do this. And if I can just talk for a little bit longer here.
You can indeed, please.
Thank you for your permission. Reckless. It's been like over 4 years since he's been since he hasn't been.
1,378 days. You do the math. Yeah,
no, I'm not going to.
Okay, close to 4 years. Yeah.
Really can't be asked for that one, mate. But you would think a hugely tenured player like Reckless would absolutely be having a shot calling on the team.
Yeah.
And so to be able to have superior macro play, especially when you don't have your Reckless.
It really is, and I think we definitely have to point out the fact that, of course, H2K, definitely one of the teams in 2018 that had a weak early game. Yeah. And, you know, Young Buck in the interview beforehand said we wanted to try it at least one of the games. They were considering it against Vitality tomorrow. I think this is a good start and going to give some experience to the Fnatic squad, who, by the way, are setting up a very typical Fnatic death bush. Paranoia was available for Broxer, who's got his Duskblade Dragon Bar as well as Warrior Charm, by the way, so he's quite literally going to hit like a truck.
He is pretty bloody fed right now, or at least if you're a squishy, you do not want to be anywhere near.
Or Ziggs, for example.
You basically don't want to be anywhere where this guy could be within half a map's reach of you if you're by yourself. You really, really do not want to be close to him. And look at all the executions, callings, and the anti-healing that we're getting through here. We've got Ignites coming through from Hillisang and Caps, the Bramble Vests from Soaz, plus the executions calling as well. Like, they know what they got to do, and right now it's engage.
Yeah, they do. Paranoia's thrown down. I'm waiting to see who gets targeted. It's in the mid lane. They managed to chase Promiscue even after the flash. Here comes Cap, Blade surging forward. Not really find anything with that Vanguard's Edge. Fnatic, they shut down the support for H2K. They get his flash. And it looks like they're going to set up some Baron vision. We're getting close to Baron spawning. We've seen some very early Barons. Medic broke that down and dissecting the numbers earlier, just how impactful the early Barons can be. And it's just, this is just a really great performance from Fnatic. As you said multiple times, with less resources, getting more objectives.
And the playmaking support on pipe. Hillisang is that kind of player, so he initiates with his little catch, and poor old Broxer whips down the Paranoia. Doesn't even get an assist. At the end of the day, it's 1 free kill for Fnatic. I'm sure he's not too sad about not getting an assist, but either way, I thought I'd point it out, because as a jungler, my heart goes out to you. You put your cooldown down and nothing actually happens, but we do have Baron in play now. Like you mentioned, the early Barons, they have been a thing, and Fnatic are going in again.
All right, Soaz is going to get some support here from Whippo. That's going to be enough to shut down Smitty J. He's 1 and 4. Despite having that Ravenous and Executioners, there's just simply not enough damage. Up in the top lane, Caps is now turning onto Selfie. Selfie's already used that Hemo Plague. There's a teleport coming in from, I assume, Soaz?
It was Whippo.
Whippo, there we go. Cancelled it, in fact, so decided not to complete that. And it's just absolute control for the defending champions here in week 2. They get some damage, a Bone Skewer onto Shook. Broxer forced to flash away for his life. Took a little bit more damage than he was expecting. Here comes Whippo and Hillisang. I'm looking for the skewer, looking for a target. But H2K will not be caught yet. Caps, by the way, waiting in the background, so if anyone sticks around, there's the flawless duet. Vanguard's Edge jumps out. There's a dash forward. Here comes Hillisang. Paranoia as well. 1, 2, 3. They're not done yet. Going golden from Promiscue, buying some time. Caps gets shut down by Smitty J, but it's simply not enough. Whippo takes down Sheriff in a 1 for 4. Almost make that a 1 for 5. Whippo trying to fish for Smitty J. Not going to find him yet. Hillisang and Whippo, the new duo, are trying to make the play, and it won't work just yet. So as tanks up, and that's teamwork.
I just really think Fnatic have bitten off more than they could chew. Here comes Caps, and it's 4 kills for Fnatic. And you have to think at this point, you developed a 10k gold lead when you're going for Baron. And like I say, this is when we've lost the flash from Broxer and from Soaz, but here's Caps getting a little bit cheeky on the side, and with that Ignite, he burns in the belly of Promiscue, and after this, she does collapse. And like you mentioned, the teamwork, trusting each other. Broxer engages without his flash, and it doesn't matter because, you know, you got your whole team there, and this is where you just turn, you burn, you get your kills. Caps goes down for Fnatic there. The real hero of the play starts it all, says, don't worry, lads. I'll go down in this one, but it's all good. They get the kills. I'm sure he's happy with that.
10,000 gold lead at 22 minutes, 16 kills to 4. If I look down the kill score, 305, 204, 623. These are some pretty epic kill, death, and assist scores. So Fnatic, they're doing pretty well in the new duo top lane 8.12 meta. And I have to admit, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed a drastic shift in what was considered the norm for such a long time.
It's such an entertaining game to watch. Maybe not for the H2K fans, but either way, there's a lot of action in this game, and it is refreshing to see all this like bloodbath going down. And considering both these teams are known for their strong early game, the fact that we do have some high games such as this, 23 minutes in, and I'm wondering, okay, so we've had the strong early game. We haven't ended the game yet. How do we end the game?
Yes.
Obviously the big
Purple
one on
worm.
that. Exactly. Mr. Naren Basher.
Yeah, exactly.
Over there on the top side of the map. Vision down. maybe they just want to bait for that vision because HGK at this point, they know that Fnatic won that Baron. They might overstep.
All right, Caps doesn't have teleport, and he's in the top lane. Promiscu steps forward. Now, to be fair, Smitty J doesn't have teleport, and he was in the bottom lane. Trying to move, the Bone Skewer comes out. I'm looking at Hylissang as a paranoia. Sends Brox all the way to the back line. Whippo goes forward with the ultimate, and now he turns. That's already a kill. Death from below goes down. Second jump. That's a double kill. Hylissang's not done yet. Looking for the follow-up. There's at least one more from Broxer. And his ulti's on cooldown. H2K are just getting wrecked. Smitty J will get shut down thanks to the Umbra Blades. And now Captain Soaz will just run down the troll. It's time to troll. H2K get aced again. They have lost a member nearly once per minute. 21 times H2K have died in 20
We've seen that in the previous game, twice, Alice game. But Vladimir is really booming good in these kind of small spaces. But that's not going to happen when you just get an ace and you lose the Baron, and I get a little bit back to Smitty J. So he got his, look at this on the minimap. Look where Smitty J is at the start of this fight. He has to bomb it up here, no teleport, no nothing. Nice and efficient in this fight. Why are you doing so far up here, HGK? You can't afford to do this, and even though Caps does not have his CP, he'll join the fight before enough to get in here, and he's just too far behind. You can't be pushing this far forward, and there it is. One falls, another one falls. Dead Smitty J was almost trying to fight. Right, that's
disingenuous that tackle might be. Paranoia is just about to time out. He doesn't use the secondary active. Smitty J is going to look to proc that Paxson. The grand challenge was issued and answered. Here comes Promiscu. Big Inferno bomb is going to get blocked by the Shroud of Darkness. Promiscu is taking a lot of damage from Caps. Smitty J just like, sorry, bruv. Alright. To the top. Hylissang uses his ultimate just to chase him down. And by the way, while all this is going on, Soaz is just solo killing Chef. Is he going to go with the burning agony? Oh man! Guys don't even need auto attacks.
Poor Sherak. Oh my goodness. Soaz just sticks on his burn, and Seraph does his best. Maybe he's on the impression, because he is a little bit.
He is indeed. Finally, Shook gets run down. This will be a kill into Sheriff. This will make it 1 kill per minute for Fnatic against hard-to-kill H2K. 26 and 26 and a half. And look, Fnatic are styling. They got a gigantic lead. And they simply outclassed H2K in every lane today.
I feel like everything that H2K wanted to work in this game, nothing of it went well. Absolutely nothing of it went well. This was an absolute travesty from H2K. Fnatic, solid performance.
Embracing the champion pool to its fullest. Fnatic are destroying H2K, picking up a couple extra kills, and Fnatic obliterate H2K.
The roster swap of dreams right there. Whippo coming out the rise, and Fnatic having their most convincing performance of the summer split. By far.
Oh yeah, pretty easy. Foxy.
There you go, it's been 3 whole games, and that was a bloody good game.
I just think, you know, Fnatic, they came into the game plan. They played the picks and bans that Youngbuck was talking about. The reason Whippo was there in the bottom lane, the execution was flawless. There's a lot to for H2K. 0-3.
Not the game they were looking for. When Fnatic looked, honestly, a little bit wounded. Predators always go for the old, the sick, or the wounded, and look at that. Fnatic were looking a bit like that. It's like that, we see that chicken stack here, of that dog who's dragging his legs behind, and then suddenly stands up. That was Fnatic, honestly.
There we go.
That was summarized in one div. That's the one.
The thing that's playing on my mind, and I've been thinking about this since 8-11, is where does the meta evolve to? You know, we saw that micro buff for AD items, and I expect ADs to get a little more love, shall we say, to see if we can bring them back to the bottom lane. I would like it if some bruisers could stick around. Juggernauts in the bottom lane, I think it makes it exciting and interesting. But who benefits? If you lean into the uniqueness of this meta, and let's say normalize and go back to old school, do you come away a stronger team if you embrace this? Or does it hurt you? And that's the question that I can't answer yet.
Firstly, I would say that it's not much of a saving thing about this since 8.11 because it's only 8.27 or so that's not really that long to be thinking about something, honestly. I've thought longer about what food to order. But to answer your question more specifically, I think metas, as they come and go, teams obviously have their strengths and weaknesses, but I still think the strong teams rise to the top, the weak teams, they'll sink. Adaptability, it's a tough one for me to say, is still a hugely important thing to have as a team, and you're still seeing it with the G2s, the Misfits, and now the Fanatics. They're still looking like the best teams, and it doesn't really matter fully on what the meta is. The best teams will be the best teams.
Absolutely the case, and of course talking about the best teams, we got a replay for you about 15 minutes into the game. It was one of the pivotal moments where Fnatic really started to accelerate the game ahead, and this was of course that fight where just everybody started coming, except Broxer. He just didn't crack an invite.
Yeah, that was, I mean, at the start of the fight, Broxer's doing the Krugs for bloody SA, but look at, everyone gets involved in this one except the Broxer. It's a complete melee. Multiple TPs come down, the Abyssal Voyage as well, the Deafening Pike comes through, absolutely, just this is a guy who, there are question marks about his whole kind of Whippo Soaz argument. I suppose Fnatic solves it by putting them both in the same game, but Soaz is just so, he's been playing since like season 1. He played in the World Finals in season 1.
Did for Against Authority.
Absolutely, the old Frenchy organisation, and in this game he whips out his baguette and slaps Sheriff around with it. Just absolutely, just unstoppable on that method.
For me, the kill of the game is absolutely Soaz just running down Sheriff.
No more attacks needed.
Burning Agony and his Sunfire Cape. I mean, you can just see that gold graph. Around 15 minutes into the replay we just watched, that's that first spike. And then it just continued from there. Gigantic damage deal dealt by Fnatic to HCK, and a dominant performance for who, you know, the team is the defending champion.
66 damage per minute was the old bot lane player for Fnatic, and the highest damage on his team was his replacement. So I would say that Russell Sword worked pretty well, actually.
It absolutely did. So congratulations to Fnatic. And commiserations to HCK. It's a difficult scenario to be in. Of course, at the end of the game, we have Soaz, Whippo, and Caps fighting to secure player of the game. Head over to esports on Twitter. Give us your vote. If you had to vote, who would you vote for?
Oh gosh, I'd probably say Whippo. Just because actually,
don't listen to him. This is favoritism. You're not. Make your own decision, okay?
Yeah, we both have great tactics.
To get some more insight of the game, let's head over to Pyra and Fnatic's mid lane.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Well, I'm joined by Caps after what was a pretty crushing victory for you guys, and your Aurelia was pretty terrifying. Honestly, I kind of want to know, is Aurelia broken, or are you broken? Because I can't tell.
I think Aurelia is definitely a strong champion right now. I think in this game, I mean, the game was a bit of like a fiesta, I guess you can say, because there were so many kills everywhere, so we were just fighting everywhere. We had a lot of strong champions at fighting, so it was kind of what we wanted to happen, and we got a lot of kills, so we were happy.
Absolutely. Now, it seemed like you guys pretty seamlessly clicked easily with this roster change. Was there a big difference in terms of like the communication, in terms of how you guys were actually calling shots this game without Reckless in the lineup and Whippo in the bot lane?
I mean, there's definitely a difference between playing like standard AD carries and playing like, for example, something like Rise. And this game specifically is like a bit hard to say just because there was a lot of like goofing around because we were so far